Hey, what's up, y'all? Shalom, shalom, praise the Most High. This little brief story, a little brief history on Bloods and Crips and how they, you know, how they came to Trenton. How a lot of people got introduced to Bloods and Crips in Trenton. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, a lot of in the early, put like this, from mid 90s and all the way towards the 2000s, uh, Bloods and Crips was already established, not established. Bloods and Crips as individuals was already in Trenton. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a few Bloods, Crips here and there, but nobody like, especially guys my age. I'm 34. You know what I mean? Around that time, early 2000, I was like what, 13, 12. So we ain't caring about we wasn't worrying about no Bloods and Crips type shit, man. We ain't really, our mind was never really on banging in general. Like we didn't care about the shit. Um, but we know in New York, when I used to go visit New York, my cousin and them I used to hear about Bloods and Crips stories, mainly Bloods stories, a lot when I was visiting New York City because of the UBN establishment or foundation that they created in New York City. Um, then North. And then I heard about the Bloods and Crips in North plus Latin Kings in North, New Jersey. But already had established a foundation in North as well, and a little bit in Camden, Bloods and Crips in Camden. So these were mid 90s for me, mid 90s and early 2000s. Early 2000s. I ain't talking about 2003, 2004 yet. Early 2000s. Okay. Now fast forward 2000. I'm gonna say around 2002. 2002, we started hearing more about the Bloods and Crips. I remember a gang intervention came to my school, middle school, and started getting us information on how to spot a gang member, how to spot somebody that's gang banging. And during that time, like I said, I ain't care too much about that shit. I'm like man, we don't care about no Bloods and Crips. That shit not in the train. Like it might be somewhere else. It might be in North New Jersey and up north and all that. We ain't off that out here. That's how we looked at it. Like we laughing at it. We like, man, we don't give a shit about that shit, man. And this early 2002, early 2002, early 2001. Matter of fact, late 2001, almost around 9/11 time. Around 9/11, we started. That's basically when Cameron started coming out, right? Not before as like Dipset as a as a whole, as a group, rap group. But anyway, uh, that's when when the police, the gang invention, came to our school and started talking to us about Bloods and Crips. For me, it sparked a little interest. You know what I mean? Like, hold up, like Bloods and Crips. Let me do my research. So the internet, gangs and stuff like that. So I started doing a little research on gangs and shit. I started reading up on Bloods and Crips, how they was created, what it was created at, Los Angeles, California, then how different streets, you know, every street name like Pyro, Hoover, Grape Street, like these are real streets, but they just turn them into got the gang shit attached to the street. You know what I mean? That's something they did on their own on the street. You know what I mean? But these are real streets, like real neighborhoods. So I'm like, okay. Then I happened to see Chicago gangs as well, like Chicago gangs. Oh, Chicago got gangs too. So I started researching Chicago gangs. Like, oh, okay, boom. People Nation, Folk Nation. Start seeing the difference, the hand signs, who was under the alliance, the People Nation Alliance, and who was under the Folk Nation Alliance. So that's what I'm doing my research on all this shit and all that. So but still I ain't really think nothing of it until I started watching music videos now. Start watching like closely, like with DMX. Them wearing a lot of red all the time. Like Rough Riders always wearing red. Um, Murder Inc. always wearing red. Then you start seeing Dipset wore red and red flags and red bandanas. You like, okay, so they must be with the alliance. This was my assumption. Me thinking that this. Oh, okay, so they with the red alliance. Then you try to figure out who with the blue alliance. Okay, Snoop Dogg and his crew, Dog Pound Gang, and all of them wearing a lot of blue, dark blue, light blue. So they must be with the blue team, the blue alliance. Okay. So now you getting more like into it when you watching everything and see, what's really what is what. You know, um so now this where it get, a little tricky. So now the blood's kind of getting a little popular because of the rap music. You got Dipset, you have 50 Cent, G Unit throwing little slick little gang terms or blood terms, East Coast blood terms in their music. With 50 saying Zero Trizzy One, he said he shout out Sex Money Murder, Pistol Pete, like he was, he said that in his music. And he was just shouting out the blood territory. You know what I mean? Dipset shouting out the blood territory. And I think at that time in New York, we didn't really have, even on the East Coast in general, we didn't have rappers, ever shouting out gang affiliations that hard. Biggie was like one probably was like Biggie and Tupac probably was the two closest. Even Nas shout out, Bloods and Crips, and when he said New York got Bloods and Crips now, and stuff like that. So you start paying attention to a lot of things more and more and more. You know what I mean? You start looking at things like even with Nas wearing a lot of red, he used to wear a lot of red in his videos. You start thinking like, okay, he's affiliated with the Bloods. You know what I mean? So you start looking at a lot of things and start saying, okay, this person, this person affiliated with that. Boom. Uh, Now we got my homies my age. Cause we was always on some gang shit, but not no gang banging shit. We ain't run down on nigga because you wearing the world color or you wearing your hat to the right or to the left. None of that. It was just on some gang territory, as far as like local gangs. You know, so we was already out there wilding out, representing hoods or representing whatever clique you was running with during that time. Now, people in my clique around that time was getting locked up, going to juvenile, what's so not. And when they go do their time, they was going down Jamesburg, and I guess that's where they got the little Bloods and Crips establishment, in Jamesburg. And they would come home. They came home, around 2002 and 2003, and they started like putting this blood tag on the streets, on the houses more. And we seen them wear red. We seen them do the little handshakes and all that. So we're like, okay, what the fuck they got going on? You know what I mean? But still, yet people wasn't really joining Bloods and Crips around 2002, 2003 like that. You feel me? Just like some, it was like some. You got a homie that's Blood, that's cool. You got a homie that's Crip, that's cool. I had a real cool homie, a few cool homies that was Crips. I even had a lot of Crip homies when I was in Burlington City. Used to be nothing but a lot of rolling 60s. They used to harvest Federal Street, New York Ave, like around those areas, like those like I hung out with a lot of rolling 60 Crips, you know what I mean, out in Burlington, to the point where I caught myself wearing blue. You know what I mean? That's to go back home to Trenton around this time, 2002, 2003. Let's go home. And then one time I got into it with one of the homies that was Blood, and I ain't know he was Blood. Like I ain't feel me because, like I said, I wasn't really into the Blood and Crip shit like that. So he was already Blood already, and he see me wearing blue. I had a blue bucket hat with blue and white tops. I had a blue shirt. I had blue pants. I like I have a white shirt on. So I'm walking to the store where the store was a blood territory, which it just became a blood territory because, like I said, a lot of my homies that was coming home from jail during time was turning blood. They come home. They go back to the hood they was known for. They ain't gonna go nowhere else. They gonna go where they from. I walk into the store and I see him looking at me like mean mugging me and shit. So I'm like, nigga mean mugging me for? You feel me? So I'm like, all right, why this nigga mean mugging me? All right, whatever, it ain't about shit. So I'm walking to the store. I walk in the store. So while I'm walking in the store, go grab my shit. He walked in the store right behind me. So like, oh, so I'm like, what's nigga ain't trying to pressure me? Nothing. Like, what's up? So I'm like, what's up, bro? You feel me? He ain't say nothing. He just looks, he's still there. So I'm like, what's up? He like, you banging? Fuck you mean I'm banging? Fuck you talking about? So I just so happened, something told me to look down. I looked down. I looked down at his hand. He had a fucking razor blade in his hand. Right? He had a razor blade in his hand. He's like, you banging? Like so I'm like, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I ain't not. I was like, nigga, not to my. I ain't gonna hold you. Nigga, I took the hat off, took the blue hat, bucket hat off. Like, nah, I ain't banging, nigga. What are you talking about? I'm like, that's what the fuck you mad at? Like, nah, bitch. You know, if anything, bitch, I'm fucking with y'all. You feel me? At the end of the day, because that's the reality is that's my hood now. They bloods, don't invade the neighborhood, so it's like, all right, this who I'm running with. You feel me? So he's like, oh, okay. I thought you feel me. I thought you was some, some hardback shit. Like, nah, nothing. Like, it ain't got nothing to do with that, bro. And that's no disrespect to the Crips, you feel me? But I'm like, nah, I don't got nothing to do with that, bro. You feel me? Boom. So we established that I wasn't no Crip. You feel me? Boom. That's when I realized that this hood officially turned into a blood neighborhood. Now, I had a close homie, you know what I mean, that was so intrigued and so into the blood shit. He'd come home happy, like, yeah, man, we did this, we did that. Woo to woo. We just put in twerk on this nigga, that nigga. And I ain't gonna lie, he was a cold blooded rider. Like, he's a rider. He was a rider. But he was so intrigued with this blood shit. So he just tell me about it. He just come home, tell me stories about the shit. Whoop the whoop. I'm like, all right, yeah, what's up? What's up? You feel me? Like, that's what's up. So what caught my attention, with the Bloods, for one, like I said, like a lot of homies, niggas I was homies with before they became what they were, bitch, you feel me? Bitch, they had to establish a foundation where, bitch, they like, all right, let's start getting this money. So in my hood, I'm from the boulevard. It was nothing but coke money, coke and crack money. You know what I mean? And marijuana, if you had it. And then my other hood, where I got put on that far as at a young age, when I was running with at a young age, and who the first people that set me, like at Skino and shit like that was Perry Street. You know what I mean? We established a relationship with them. You know what I mean? We fellowship with them before we had fellowship with any other hood. And they was like known for like breeding bloods. Like everybody was turning blood around it. And they were wild as fuck. You feel me? And so I go down there, fuck with them heavy. You know what I mean? And I got a better insight on what was going on. So that hood was strictly dope money. Like if you know about, what says, you know what I mean? Some things. If you know, you know. If you know, you know, bitch. That was strictly dope money from 5 Points all the way down to fucking from 5 Points Brunswick all the way down to Perry Street. You know what I mean? Like, bitch, you was getting money. And these the motherfuckers that's controlling, or I ain't gonna say controlling. These the motherfuckers that got the connects. The Bloods had the connects that I wanted, that I needed. You know what I mean? I'm like, I need make some bread. So I started fucking with them heavy. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why a lot of niggas like me officially end up getting involved with the Bloods, because they was the ones with the connects that a nigga needed. Oh shit, you feel me? They get into the bread around this time. I'm talking about 2003, 2004. These niggas getting to some money. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Started running with them. But I ain't run with the Bloods. I ain't get put on by the Bloods first. I ended up getting put on by Peace Stone niggas. Like real Peace Stones that established from Chicago. But around this time, you had in Trenton, you had mad different hoods just popping out of nowhere in Trenton. Like Trenton really became a small city flooded with different fucking gangs, especially blood set. You had My Pyru, Treetop Pyru, Cedar Block Pyru, Fruit Town Brim, Fine Eye Brim. Of course, we had the East Coast Bloods, Shine, Murder, 9-3. You know what I mean? Valentine. And then what was it? You had other hoods. Of course, like the Hoover niggas was around. I can say that for a fact. Hoover niggas definitely was around. They just wasn't. A lot of them just wasn't out there. They didn't put themselves out there like that yet. Feel me? Far as like, because it was so many Bloods, niggas turning Bloods around that time. It was like the numbers was so crazy. Like you can't go to war with the whole city. You know what I mean? So you had Black P Stone, you had the West Side Black P Stones, and you had the originals, the one that's from strictly. I mean, the one that had their line from Chicago, then you had the line from Cali. You know what I mean? Bloods. Uh, you had the Rolling 20s, Bloods. Uh, it was like so many different blood sets popping up in Trenton. I don't know if they was all official or not. I don't know about all that. But I ended up moving down south in Atlanta, right? I ended up moving because I was getting in so much trouble and I ended up getting locked up and kicked out of Trenton High. So my dad, my grandma and my dad came up with the conclusion like, if you don't want your son to die or end up how end up in prison, my dad did years in prison and he was facing 60 years plus deportation back to Jamaica. So my grandma was scared of us facing the same results. You know what I mean? Us facing the same trials and tribulations that my mom and he faced. You get what I'm saying? So in the early '90s when they was running the streets and shit. You know what I mean? So we packed our stuff, we ended up moving down south. I packed our stuff, moved down south. I stayed down there I stayed down there for like at least 4 years. You know what I mean? I was out of the mix. But I was hearing all the crazy stories that was going on in Trent. Like, damn, that's crazy. Damn, that's crazy. And bitch, down there, the whole city was 90% Bloods. When I left, the city was 50% Bloods. You know what I mean? And 50% Bloods, 40% neutral, and 10% Crips. You know what I mean? 50% Bloods, 40% neutral, 10% Crips. Then when I left, around '05, '06, it became 90% Bloods, even '07. And '08, 90%. I came back in '08, came back 2008. It became, like, still was like 90% Bloods. Now, but 2008, the gang banging part of things, after they don't had their gang wars, had a bunch of wars against each other, banging on each other, because, first, that's one thing. Whenever you got the numbers, they're going to eventually start banging on each other because I want territory. I want the drug territory. I want the bitch territory. I want to be the niggas on top. So that's all. That's just how it goes in the hood, in any hood. So 2008, the gang banging part of Bloods and Crips kind of left the scene, but people still was Bloods and Crips wherever they were. You know what I mean? Me being Peace Stone, ended up coming back to Trenton, New Jersey. Being the only Peace Stone member of my hood, you know, kept me out of a lot of shit too. Kept me out of a lot of wars that was going on between like Sex Money Murder and G Shine at that time, or 9-3 and G Shine at the time. Like there's a lot of shit that was going on within that hood. And my guys that I was officially under, you know what I mean, at the time, you know, we kind of had a disconnection. We lost a disconnection with each other. So all my knowledge and food I was getting from that establishment, I lost it. So I end up, going under G Shine. You know what I mean? Because G Shine was already my hood. But before I got under G Shine, you know what I mean? I try to like wait till everything calmed down, like as far as like the wars, because I didn't want to inherit a war that didn't have shit to do with me. You know what I mean? Because there was so much shit that was going on, and with G Shine and Murder, it was like ridiculous, man. Because that was the two biggest gangs in the city at that time. And they was fighting for Eagles, like who gonna be on top, who gonna come out on top. And I fought with a lot of murder homies before they became Bloods and who in Crips before they became who they are. We all went to school together. We went to baseball leagues together, basketball leagues. So we already established like some type of relationship with a lot of different. Me personally, me, because I was always that guy that went to different hoods and ran with a couple of different hoods. But the Bloods and Crips, spread it in Trenton. Especially the Bloods. The Bloods we spread it because it became popular to be blood because for one, all the niggas that was official or we looked at that was official niggas in the city, they was bloods. They had all the hottest blocks in Trenton. All the hottest blocks became blood territory. Um, and they started putting out requirements like you either get down or lay down. Like you either gonna be with this shit or you're not gonna be with this shit. And if you resist it, they feel like you want to be a crip. You know what I mean? So they bang on you. You know what I mean? So a lot of niggas got forced into bloods too. That's why I think a lot of niggas when they found the opportunity to flip crip, you know what I mean? They did what they had to do because they didn't want to be bloods in the first place. They just felt like they got forced to be bloods. You know what I mean? So that was like a mistake that the Bloods should never did. You know what I mean? They should never force nobody to join your gang. That's how you create rats and traitors and snakes. They ain't gonna fuck with you like that. Like I ain't wanna be blood, but shit. First of all, you gotta force a motherfucker to be anything. You don't want them to be a part of your crew. You know? That's just the American way, man. Uh, but I end up, you know, leaving the gang banging shit behind because, like I said, like it was fucking senseless. Ain't nobody, everybody getting, it was breeding too many rats. It was breeding so many rats and hypocrites. I couldn't fuck with that, man. Niggas were hypocrites and it was breeding too many rats for me. So I'm like, I'm good off that. So I went to the family business, man. I went to the family business and I'm of age. So I'm a grown ass man. Like, and I was like 21. I done did everything possible I could do with the gang banging shit. Like I took that shit, I did what I needed to do. That's it. You know what I mean? At the age of 21, I felt like I ain't gonna say 21. I'm gonna say I could say 21. I could say 21. At the age of 21, I felt like it was over. Like I felt like the gang banging shit part of my life was over already. Like it was time to go and move on to another chapter. And I ended up going back to my family business, you know what I mean? And if you know, you know, you know what I mean? Like what I mean by that. So, you know what I mean? That's where I'm more comfortable at. You know what I mean? Like I end up, you know, moving forward, end up making a lot of money, you know what I mean, in it. Handling my business, doing what I need to do. And to this day, man, I thank God that, you know what I mean, I overcame a lot of that blood and crip shit and understood like the Bloods and Crips is not our thing, man. You know what I mean? Like that shit is a LA thing. Blooded and Crippin is a LA thing. So once I understood that, and LA nigga was established that with you, like like bitch, just be the real Bloods and Crips. Like y'all ain't got nothing to do with that. You feel me? And niggas gotta respect that. They gotta understand that. Like LA don't like y'all banging their gangs. It's like a nigga. We got niggas in our city. You got a nigga in your city right now claiming your hood, and you like that nigga not from my hood. So why you think them niggas saying in LA that nigga's not from my hood? You know what I mean? They saying the same shit. Like we ain't go to school with that nigga. That nigga ain't live with the street for me. That nigga ain't never stayed out of my house. I ain't never stayed out of his house. We ain't never. That's how they looking at the whole thing. Like we never did nothing from childhood to adulthood. So they look at you like you're just like off brand. You feel me? So that is what it is from there. But how the Bloods and Crips got to Trenton, they got through Trenton through jails and prison. They got through Trenton through jails and prison. That's how they became. That's how a lot of people became Bloods and Crips through Trenton through prison. The New Jersey prison systems. Niggas was getting locked up, coming home Bloods. Now niggas is getting locked up, coming home Muslim. Or coming home Crip. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or coming home bitches. You know what I mean? Either way, like you coming home Crip, Muslim, or a bitch. You feel me? So it is what it is, man.